Shalom, Israel. This is Shemar Yawan. We're going to go over the dietary law, and we're going to look at some atrocities done by the enemies of the land, which are not Israel. But when we go into the scriptures, we're going to see, according to the scriptures, that the Most High gave this earth for man to take care of. And when we read Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, that's Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, it says, "And the Most High God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it." So it was man's job to dress the Garden of Eden, to put animals in its rightful habitation, and to be a lord over the Garden of Eden. The Most High created Adam and Eve for that. So we were always caretakers of the land. When we go forward and we look at the scriptures, and we see the diet of Adam all the way to and one of the last of his grandsons, which was Noah. We see that he had a diet. Okay, it doesn't say this is what he ate, but the Most High told him, when choosing the animals to put on the ark, of course he chose 2 of every kind, male and female. But when we read Genesis chapter 7, verse 1, it says, "And the Most High said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female." So he's already making a difference between the clean and the unclean beasts. So Noah had a consumption of herbs and seeds, as we read in Genesis chapter 3, that was their diet. But outside of the garden, if you look at the lineage of Cain, the first cattle herder was one of Cain's descendants, until we get through the flood, and then the Most High says to consume everything that walks on the earth that's good for meat. And that's when the dietary law really kicks in. Verse 3, "Of fowls also of the air, which are birds, by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth." So the Most High is also making a difference here too. Okay, so this is just giving you a narrative of what the Most High set in order, also a touch or a hint of our dietary law to a certain degree. The Most High didn't want us eating unclean foods. Let's go to, I want to go to Psalms chapter 50. Psalms chapter 50, verse 10. Psalms chapter 50, verse 10. "For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine." So there was a sacrifice that Noah also had to present to the Father. He had to give a burnt offering or burnt sacrifice, and the Most High also was choosing those clean animals also for that offering. It's something that we did in those days. You saw Cain and Abel, they offered an offering to the Most High. The Most High accepted Abel's offering, and he shunned Cain's offering. So that was also something that we did in that day. The Most High only required a clean sacrifice. He did not want unclean beasts on his altars. And as we go further down, we see that the Levites ate these clean beasts that were sacrificed after the sacrifice was conducted. Let's go to Genesis, actually, let's go to Psalms chapter 82. Psalms chapter 82, verse 5. Let's speed it up to where we are now. Now that we received the dietary law in the wilderness, and we went out and about to Jerusalem and to other corners of the earth, we brought sin into our congregations. And when we brought sin into our congregations, things changed for us drastically. Okay? Let's go to Psalms 82, verse 1. The Most High standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. Defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. So at this time, there were wicked Israelites, and of course, there was nations that were just utterly just wicked. It says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. What is darkness? Those who don't know the law. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Okay, so all the foundations of the earth are out of course because we broke the Most High's law. So when that happened, the Most High put somebody over us. He chose a nation to be over us. If you drop down to Psalms chapter 83, Psalms chapter 83, verse 1, it says, keep not thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. So now there's a true enemy against the children of Israel. And consulted against thy hidden ones. Tasapa. That's what hidden ones means in the Hebrew. Tasapa. It also means Hispaniola. The hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. Let's find out who they are. They are confederate against thee. Here are the enemies. The tabernacles of Edom, Esau, who was our brother, or the brother of Jacob, he became our main enemy, our arch enemy. And the Israelites, which are the Arabs, of Moab, which are the Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which are the East Indians, Gabal and Ammon, who are the Asians or Japanese, and Amalek, which are the grandsons of Esau, the Philistines, who are the Africans, with the inhabitants of Tyre, more Africans. So we could go further into this, but the main thing that we got to understand is now that we have an enemy, these dietary laws almost became extinct to those who had fallen victim to the enemy. Now we're in their lands. Now we're scattered abroad. Now we're beginning to forget our covenant. Now we're beginning to forget the dietary laws. There's always a light bearer amongst our people where we are scattered. And those are the ones who teach each other about the law, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25, 5, verse 27. And the boys grew. Who are the boys? Jacob and Esau. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And if you look at Esau today, the so-called white man, he's all over the place. Everywhere. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in the tents. Who are Jacob? That's your 12 tribes of Israel. That's the Negroes and the Native Americans and the Latinos and the Lacindos. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. So now we have a rivalry between Jacob and Esau. As we speed up and go to Genesis 27, verse 38, we're going to hear about the blessings of Esau. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord. And all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Esau has a dominion now. The end of the world is Esau. The beginning of it is Jacob. It's about to restart. We're on the last few verses of Revelation, getting ready to go into them plagues.
16. And giraffes moving to
and
sector
salvation
2.
and redemption.
63 reports hippopotami moved from zone 9 to zone 12.
All right? That's why we tell brothers to repent. So Esau became Jacob's worst enemy. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12 and 16, because some of you may think that Esau could get back. You may think that some of his descendants could get back to the father, that it doesn't affect them, but it does. This is a lineage thing. Just like the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob told us to beware of the last days, or the latter days that will befall us. He's talking to our lineage. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So this is the darkness that's come upon the earth. Esau is now ruling the dominion of the earth. So there's a darkness on the earth because our people have forgotten what we're supposed to do by following Esau. Let's go to Psalms chapter 10. And as I roll this video clip, you are now going to see the atrocities of Esau, dealing with the animals. Now, when we ruled, of course, we went hunting just like Esau. We hunted. We had game. When you look at Solomon, look at all the things that was given to him from other nations. Leopard skin, lion's mane. We hunted too. We had some things for trophies as well. But Esau took it to a whole nother level. You understand? He took it to another level, just like slavery. He took slavery to a whole nother level. He became crafty. He became a serpent. He became a dragon to us. He brought a continual stroke of hatred on us. Okay? A perpetual hatred did he have for Jacob. And when he had that hatred for Jacob, he also had the hatred for the whole earth that the Most High created. And that's why you see the devastation going on in earth today. Let's go to Psalms chapter 10. Look at Psalms chapter 10. Let's start at verse 2. The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire, and blesseth the covenants whom the Most High abhorreth. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the Most High. The Most High is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far about out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of cursing, just like Esau, and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. All these different government agencies, right? All these provocateurs, all these Edomites that come after Jake, that launch investigations around the world against people who are innocent. Verse 9. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. Who is the poor? The Israelites. He croucheth and humbleth himself, that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, the Most High has forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Esau thinks he's getting away with everything. He thinks that he can't be caught. He thinks he's untouchable. He's diplomatic. He can't be touched. But the Most High has a case against him. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 4. That's why you see them out killing all these elephants and slaughtering these lions. You know, they think they can get away with it. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 21. It reads, Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. Why is he telling Edom to rejoice? Because their time is coming to an end. They better enjoy while they have it. Because the devil has only a short time. Right? He only has a short time left. It says, that dwellest in the land of Uz, the capital of Esau. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. How's he going to make himself naked? By not following the Most High. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughters of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity, because Israel was brought here in captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. The Most High is coming back to discover the sins of Esau. Esau will be made stubble, the whole nation. Malachi chapter 1. Malachi chapter 1. Malachi chapter 1, verse 3. Malachi chapter 1, verse 3. And I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste. For thy dragons of the wilderness, all his militaries are going to be laid waste. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. The Most High is like, no, you won't. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Most High have indignation forever. The Most High is not even giving them a chance. Okay, look at all the things that he's doing. Look, I mean, I'm showing you the things that Esau does around the world. Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. Verse 4.
I want to get that one.
That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Who is the king of Babylon? Esau. And say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased? Because it's golden. The Most High have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smite the people in wrath with a continual stroke. That's what he did to us in captivity. He that ruleth the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hinder. He has a perpetual hatred for Israel. Look at this, verse 7. And you can see this for yourself. The scripture says, the whole earth is at rest. and it's quiet. They break forth into singing. This is after Esau's put down. Everybody's going to be at rest. Everybody. It says, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. So even the trees are going to rejoice. Okay? The animals are going to rejoice.
Stop.
Right? The Most High said that the lions will no longer chase down the beast of the field. They're going to be eating grass along with the lamb. So everything is about to change. But I want you to see the reason that our diet is all out of whack is because the foundations are out of course. And a lot of us don't know how to get back to being holy. Look at how they kill these crocodiles. They put the balloons out with ropes and razor blades, let them entangle themselves in it, and then they come, once they get caught, they come and inject them with some kind of poison. And they're not going to eat them, they're just killing them. It's overkill. Let's go to the scriptures and let's read Wisdom of Solomon in the Apocrypha. And we're going to read chapter 5, verse 14. For the hope of the ungodly is like dust that is blown away with the wind, like a thin froth that is driven away with the storm, like as the smoke which is dispersed here and there with the tempest, and passeth away as the remembrance of a guest that tarrieth but a day. This is how the wicked are going to pass away. This is how Esau will become stubborn. We will no longer remember this nation. Verse 15, but the righteous live forevermore. Their reward also is with the Most High. Who are the righteous? The Israelites. And the care of them is with the Most High. Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom. We're going to receive a glorious kingdom. It's not going to be like this one. And a beautiful crown from the Most High's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them. He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. Who is that creature? That is the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. He shall put on righteousness as a breastplate, and true judgment instead of a helmet. He shall take holiness for an invincible shield. What is the holiness? Keeping the Most High's laws. Something that we have forgotten. Something that was promised to us. The covenants of the Most High. His severe wrath shall be sharpened for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds, as from a well-drawn bow, shall they fly to the mark. And hailstones full of wrath shall be cast as out of a stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them. Who is the them? All the nations that had a controversy with Israel, a confederacy against Israel. And the flood shall cruelly drown them. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand up against them, and like a storm shall blow them away. Thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth, and ill-dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. And this is what Isaiah was talking about in Isaiah, chapter 3? When he said, how long, O power? And then he said, until the cities are wasted. So we're seeing the desecration of all these animals with a continual stroke, as well as the people of the earth. All these different nations, even the brothers and sisters who are in the islands, over there in the Pacific Islands, over there in the West Indies. We have brothers and sisters all over the earth. We have the 12 tribes of Israel all over the earth. And they're all waiting to rejoice. Let's go to Obadiah. Obadiah chapter 1. Obadiah chapter 1, verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hid things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you and prevailed against you. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Who's the him? Esau. Shall I not in that day, saith the Most High, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau, every one of the nation of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. And that's going right back into the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5 that we had just brought out. So the Most High has something special for the end times. We have to wait, just like Yahushua said, we have to wait on the Most High for that day, because none of us know. At this time, our job is to watch and pray.